The list of ways in which jazz musicians practice is quite inexhaustive, and for that very reason, I'm just going to stick with 3 pertinent points for this video. So one of the things I've learned about jazz musicians and how they practice is that they're consistently working on their sound. So it doesn't matter if they are pro or they are pro of pros, they consistently work on their sound because they're always looking for and searching for and seeking for the best sound. And rightly so, because your sound is the first thing that listeners hear when you begin to play your horn. So sound is king. The second thing that jazz musicians practice or work on a consistent basis is that of their rhythm. So if sound is king, rhythm is queen. And I've learned that kings ride on chariots, but when night comes along, they do a different kind of riding. And we have a popular Jamaican expression, yeah, African ride the rhythm. In other words, you have to be able to be in sync with the rhythm whenever you take a microphone to sing or you pick up an instrument, right? So you have to work on your rhythm consistently if you really want to sound good so that king and queen can make a beautiful kingdom. All right. The third thing that I have learned that jazz musicians work on is that they practice in all 12 keys. So it doesn't matter if when they go on a bandstand, they are not going to see a piece of music written, for example, in G flat major or D flat major. What they're focused on or interested in is that they build great facility over the entire range of the horn in all keys, whether or not they're going to play that lick, that run, that scale in those 12 keys. And so at the beginning of this video, you saw me playing or listen to me play a pattern that I took through all the 12 keys. It is from an ebook I created on my website called Major Scale Shapes. I have listed 18 different major scale patterns through all 12 keys. You can check in the description below to get access to that on my website. Now, I learned that John Coltrane would sit for hours and just play scales, but not just from the root to the octave or to the ninth and so on. He would play in different shapes, right? No wonder he was a legend. And so instead of just practicing your triads like this, take it another step further and you practice it in an odd tempo like this. But taking it a step further is that you also practice it in all 12 keys. Now, what you will find is that as you practice shapes, licks, runs, patterns, all of these in all 12 keys on your horn, you're building great facility. And so you'll find that you'll begin to pick up more quickly. Your brain will begin to process it more easily. And so a pattern may take you 10 to 15 minutes to learn in all 12 keys. And when I say learn, I don't mean to sight read it and play it, but to memorize it, because your brain starts to see the patterns. Because when you're playing patterns, you have to understand that you're going to come up on shapes that have major thirds, minor thirds, or fourths or fifths, or you're going to be building on an arpeggio, whether it's major or minor, and so on. Check the link in the description below to grab this particular pattern. It's in my ebook on my website called Major Scale Shapes, and there are 18 major scale shapes and they're written in all 12 keys. There are over 43 pages. Now, if you make it through a halfway of those patterns, you're going to really build up some flexibility and some facility on your horn. Until next time, saxophone, push, play until something happens. Peace.